Hi everyone, my name is Ayman from the Royal team and this is stage 2 video presentation.
We collect the information about the consumerism activities and carbon footprint emission. The time frame for data collection is 1 week. The data collection method we use is qualitative research method, and then we collect the data, analyze the data, and finally we implement findings.
Scientific manners is a method of research in which a problem is identified. Relevant data are gathered, a hypothesis is formulated from this data. How to present in scientific manners? First, we make an observation, then we ask a question. After that, we do a hypothesis that answers the question. Then we predict results based on the hypothesis. Then we do an experiment to test the results. After that, we analyze the results and see if the hypothesis is correct. We just report the results. If it's incorrect, we try again the process.
First of all, carbon footprint is a measure of the exclusive total amount of carbon dioxide emission that is directly and indirectly caused by an activity or is accumulated over the life stages of a product. There are three scopes of carbon emission: direct carbon emission, which is scope 1, and indirect carbon emission, which is scope 2 and 3. Scope 1 is emission from company vehicles or facilities. Scope 2 is emission from electricity. Scope 3 is emission from other actions such as business travels and wastewater. Finally, to calculate our carbon, we have first to decide our boundary. For example, boundary 1 carbon emission can be calculated by multiplying the emission data, the consumption data, by the emission factor. Another way to calculate carbon emission is by using calculator websites.
Lifestyle is defined as the external demonstration of individuals about their necessities, thoughts, and tendencies to be a part of their political, economic, and social life of their countries. Factors that affect people in purchasing goods: social factors, groups, family role, and status; personal factor, buyer's age, occupation, lifestyle, and personality; psychological factor, that is motivation, perception, learning, and beliefs.
The methodology of data collected from UTM students is by 17-question questionnaire. This questionnaire covered awareness towards carbon footprint and consumerism activity. It also covered the consumption per week for 4 factors: transportation, food, electricity, and water. While data collected from families are by team member observation. We used countries Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Yemen because it's the countries of the team members. The data were collected of consumption of the 4 factors per week. Later, all this data is converted into carbon footprint emissions by multiplying the activity data by emission factor. From the calculations, we found that food consumption is responsible for more than half of UTM students' CO2 emissions, with approximately 5,300 kg of CO2 equivalent per week. Electricity consumption have a percentage of 35%. Transportation and water doesn't seem to emit a lot. This is due to our current situation with the MCO. We don't use transportation a lot.
Table 4.3 show the total consumption for Malaysian and other countries' family. For the total consumption, Saudi Arabia is the first for factors: electricity, water, and transportation, while for food factor, Malaysia and Saudi Arabia are almost the same. Yemen has the least consumption in all factors.
Most of the students prefer both method of shopping, which is online shopping and offline shopping. At the purchasing stage, the UTM students consider the factors of price and quality more than eco-friendly. Most of the UTM students have heard carbon footprint before, but they don't know how to calculate from the goods they purchase. Most of the students make a buying decision in few minutes, and their typical budget for purchasing in a week is mostly below 100 ringgit. There are some UTM students still don't know about the environmental impact of consumerism activities, and they are disagree that their consumerism activities have negative effects on environment like climate change.
After we collected the data from the 3 families and multiply them with their emission factor, the resultant was, as we can see in the charts, the Saudi Arabian family has the highest carbon footprint emissions in transportation, water, and electricity factors. However, in food factor, it comes in second place. For the Malaysian family, it has the highest emissions in food, Nevertheless, it takes second place in transportation and electricity factors, and in water it has the lowest emissions. For the Yemeni family, it has the lowest carbon footprint emissions in all the factors except for the water factor. It takes the second place due to the use of water in agriculture.